What's going on, everyone? So the Lakers are active in trying to find a trade, and most of the conversation seems to be focused on Jeremy Grant. Now, as we get closer to training camp, it's very possible that Jeremy Grant ends up getting traded to the Lakers. A lot of people, even Blazers, insiders and stuff, kind of believe that eventually that gets done. We'll see. But even with Jeremy Grant, there is a genuine argument to go get Cam Johnson, right? He's younger, kind of provides the same thing. Jeremy Grant's better at creating for himself and getting to the foul line than Cam Johnson is, but, Cam Johnson is no slouch in that area either, right? The big problem with Cam Johnson is just, like, the injury concerns, right? Can he play a full season? Not even 82 games, but can he give you 70 games, right? If he can do that, there is a genuine argument. Also, he's probably cheaper, and the Brooklyn Nets want to kind of unload everybody, right? They got a great return in the Mikal Bridges trade, and they're ready to hit the reset button and tank and hopefully land Cooper Flag, right? So you see them. I mean, they're even looking at trying to turn Dorian Finney-Smith into like Isaac Okoro, right? So it's like they're clearly in the, hey, let's sell. You could also potentially get other pieces from the Brooklyn Nets in a potential trade as well, right? So there are options in that regard to maybe get multiple players and multiple pieces. But the Lakers, no matter what, even if they pull off a trade, right, they need right? It's what I've always talked about, right? DeMar DeRozan and Klay Thompson and Jeremy Grant and they need another piece that they can slot in alongside to really kind of upgrade this roster. Would a Cam Johnson make the Lakers better? Absolutely, right? Because he's a versatile two-way wing that can play either forward spot and just would be an upgrade over everyone else we have right now. He's still young enough to be a long-term piece, right? You don't just have him for, 2-3 years. Like, you can sign him for, even to a new contract when this one's up, right? So there is some flexibility there. It'd also be easier to trade for him, right? But you need to do something else. You need to get that other piece. Ideally, it would be a center, right? Can you get a Walker Kessler? Can you get a Wendell Carter Jr.? Right? Can you get even like a Nick Richards or something like that? It doesn't even necessarily have to be this top tier. Obviously, a Wendell Carter Jr., Walker Kessler, that would be, the cream of the crop type center that we could get. Like, that would be tier A. But even if you get like a tier B guy, right? Like, that's still fine because you just need somebody to kind of play in the backup role and even at times and on occasion slot alongside Anthony Davis, give you that versatility. The issue is, the only real centers we know that are truly available are like the Clint Capellas and Nikola Vucevic, right? The Atlanta and Chicago Bulls centers. But they're overpaid, right? Like, they're not who they used to be. They're both kind of on the decline. Vu has been, atrocious playing overseas right now and, playing in the Olympics and stuff. Clint Capella, he's the better, he gets you rebounding, right? Like, I wouldn't hate that, but again, they're all kind of overpaid. Now, I do think that there is an argument for Clint Capella because he's an expiring $20 million contract. So, if he works, you can re-sign him and, sign him to like $10 million a year, clear $10 million off your books for next year, and kind of, keep him as like your backup or maybe even start alongside AD. If it doesn't work out, it is kind of like, this sucks, then you can easily just like let him walk. And now you cleared $20 million off your books. Plus LeBron could restructure his deal. And now maybe you could get a top guy or two, right? It's always possibilities. So it just gives you more flexibility than Vu would, where he has like a more long-term contract. Also, I think that Clint Capella with his, rebounding, shot blocking stuff, I just think would be make more sense. And he'd be cheap, right? Both guys you wouldn't have to give up first for. You'd probably get them relatively reasonable, but it's just like, what are you giving up to get that? Like, you still have to get to his $20 million in salary, right? So again, that's not ideal, but that is an option. But like the Walker Kesslers and the, Wendell Carter Jr.'s of the world, right? Like, the Lakers have inquired, teams have touched base, but listening and actually trading for that guy are very different things, right? Most teams are willing to listen because you never know. Like, what if you get some like crazy return? But neither team really has a major incentive, particularly right now, to trade either guy, right? Like, Walker Kessler is incredibly young. It makes sense for Utah. Like, I don't even know why Utah even is considering trading him and like why that report came out. But we also know that the Knicks offered 2 firsts for him, and they said no. So is it one of those things where it's just like we need a package that's just incredibly blowaway for us to trade him? Or is it just like they're like, the Knicks are a young, talented team. They're going to be good for years. Like their picks are going to be late 20s. Like we're not doing it for that. Or maybe a Lakers, they're like, Danny Ainge is on record saying that he believes the Lakers have the best assets on the market because he thinks that after LeBron and AD leave, Lakers are going to be terrible, which could be a real possibility, right? So maybe it's just he just doesn't see the Knicks offer as valuable. That could be an option. But even like Wendell Carter Jr., right? Like Orlando, yeah, they could trade him. They have several options at center, and they were actually best with Paolo Banchero at the center position. So there is this argument to shift him to the 5 and then have like a Jonathan Isaac at the 4 type thing. That could be eventually where they get to, and then maybe they look at it and go, okay, well, let's trade Wendell Carter. But they may want to actually see that first. Again, in a perfect world, you get something like that. But if there is no center, what do the Lakers do? Like, what are the Lakers' options? And that's where I think somebody like a Bruce Brown could really come in. Now, I know a lot of people aren't high on Bruce Brown. I'm not like insanely high on Bruce Brown, but he does solve another need, right? Which is that point of attack, defensive, 3-and-D guard, but he's not really, the 3-point shooting is the concern, right? Now, playing alongside LeBron and AD, could he uptick? Because he has had some seasons where he's actually decent shooting the 3 ball. I'm not expecting him to be 40%, but can he get to like 37% to where he's at least respectable? That's always an option. But he gives you rim pressure. He gives you scoring in the mid-range. He gives you that athleticism out on the perimeter, right? Like the Lakers have always been best with that, the Alex Caruso type, right? You look at teams look at Drew Holiday and Derek White. Now, obviously, those guys are the cream de la creme of the 3-and-D guard style, but Bruce Brown is like the next level down, which he still has that defense. He has the champ. He was huge for Denver and winning the NBA championship. And he wanted to be a Laker. He was going to sign with the Lakers. Instead of Gabe Vincent, we were going to sign Bruce Brown. He was going to take Gabe Vincent's contract. But then here comes Indiana, and they're like, hey, we'll give you a double. We'll give you $22 million, which it worked out for Indiana because they were able to go and acquire Pascal Siakam, right? And now a lot of people go, yeah, but he's just overpaid, which he is. You're right. He is overpaid. Right? He's not worth the $22 million. He's probably in like that $15 million range, but he's an expiring contract, right? And we know he wants to be a Laker. So we know that he's willing and most likely willing to re-sign. So you could not only trade for him, right? Like, trade a D'Lo and Cam Reddish or something, right? Give up those 2, go get a Bruce Brown. I think you'd have to give up a little more, but get the point, right? Like you vet minimum or 2, D'Angelo Russell, get you Bruce Brown. You give up a first. I don't really like the idea of a first, but it's just argument's sake. Sure, give up first. And then you turn Rui, Gabe Vincent, and, a Jackson Hayes, or I'd probably keep Jackson Hayes, Christian Wood. There you go, right? Boom. Now you go get a Cam Johnson or a Jeremy Grant or something like that. But ideally, I would prefer getting Cam Johnson, right? So because you could essentially just do Rui and like Gabe Vincent, get Cam Johnson, and then do like D'Lo and a couple Cam Reddish and Christian Wood, and boom, now you got that. So now you get Bruce Brown and you get Cam Johnson, right? Now, the reason I prefer that is because, again, if you can't get that center, then you might as well go all in on your other biggest need, which is athleticism and defense out on the perimeter. Anthony Davis handled the interior. Like, we didn't have an interior issue. It wasn't, teams weren't just walking to the rim and killing us. No, it was a perimeter issue. The Lakers couldn't stop anybody on the perimeter. We were like 29th in the league in that, right? Why? Because we didn't have the defensive pieces, right? Now, also, you have Bruce Brown, Jared Vanderbilt, Cam Johnson, Anthony Davis, and Max Christie all as, that could be your defensive unit. And you'd still have some 3-point shooting in that, right? Like, so, again, like you need to get a stop at the end of the game. You could easily just go, Bruce Brown, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, Cam Johnson and Anthony Davis as your closing five for the final 15 seconds. You need to get a stop. Game's on the line. Here we go, right? So again, just gives you versatility, and then it also gives you flexibility because, like I said, you're unloading guys, and then Bruce Brown you give a new contract for. Let's say you give him 4 years, $60 million, right? Something like that, right? Well, now you cleared $8 million off the books. LeBron can restructure his contract next year, and then maybe go get another piece or two, right? Like in the offseason. Maybe because the next year's offseason is expected to be a lot better. Now, you never know, right? Because now the new CBA, teams get to negotiate early with their players. And then also, there's a lot of guys that are on that list that'll sign new extensions and new deals and all that stuff. So it is one of those things where it's like, it'll be interesting to see how many of those guys actually are, available. But nonetheless, it would give the Lakers more flexibility. So I do think if you can have a Bruce Brown, now you have that point of attack defensive guy. You have that athleticism out on the perimeter. You have that guy that's just relentless in that regard. Then you have a Cam Johnson, right? You have Cam Johnson. He can defend multiple positions. He can defend out on the perimeter. He can provide that three-point shooting, right? And Bruce Brown also gives you rim pressure, all of that. You got LeBron James. You got Anthony Davis. I just think that that's a much more balanced, alongside Austin Reeves, much more balanced offensive and defensive unit. Right, you have Austin Reeves, Cam Johnson, and LeBron James, who can all get you 38 to 40% from three-point range. Can Anthony Davis, knock down a consistent three-point shot here and there, right, to where you at least have to respect it? Like I said, Bruce Brown, can he, give you some level of consistency from the three-point range? Again, not saying he has to be elite, not saying he has to be 40%, but can he be, league average even is 36%, right? Can he be 36% from three, right? Because now you at least have to respect it, particularly outside on the perimeter, but also his athleticism would go a long way with what the Lakers want to run in that motion offense, right? So you're just more athletic, you're more versatile, rebounding. A lot of people, we need another big for the rebounding. Again, go back, watch the tape, look at the data. Right? The Lakers, a lot of the offensive rebounds the Lakers were giving up were long ball threes. Why? Because the Lakers couldn't defend out on the perimeter. So teams were taking shots at the three, and those create long ball rebounds. And opposing teams are like, I just have to win a foot race against D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and Rui Hachimura. I could probably outrun those guys. Maybe not so much now, but in my heyday, I probably could have. Right? So again, it's just they don't have the foot speed to get out and go and and track down these loose balls. Well, now you have Bruce Brown, he can. Now you have Cam Johnson, he can. Right? It gives you more versatility. So I do think, if you can't get a center, right? Again, in a perfect world, I think a Jeremy Grant, Walker Kessler, Jeremy Grant, Wendell Carter Jr. would be the best course, or even a Cam Johnson in either of those centers. Perfect world, that's the best option. But realistically, you're probably looking at, especially with the assets the Lakers have, something like a Bruce Brown and a Cam Johnson. But I don't think that that's really worst case scenario. I actually think that that's a very good position for the Lakers to be in. I do. I think that both guys really would upgrade and bolster this roster into a contention level status, and gives you some flexibility, particularly with Bruce Brown. So I like it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think Bruce Brown, Cam Johnson, those are the two guys that you need to get? Those guys make the most sense if you can't get a center. Obviously, if you can get a center, go get a center. But if you can't get a center, then one of those two guys, right? And then maybe you do one of those two guys. Maybe you wait for maybe Valanciunas is that center that comes along, right? If you got Cam Johnson and Bruce Brown, you could always look to move Jared Vanderbilt. I mean, the Lakers are looking to move Jared Vanderbilt right now, right? Do you maybe turn Jared Vanderbilt into a Valanciunas, right? And now you got Valanciunas, Bruce Brown, and Cam Johnson with LeBron, AD, Austin Reeves, Max Christie, Dalton Connect, right? You're much better, right? And now I don't want to trade. I'd still like to keep Jared Vanderbilt if I'm being honest, but with Bruce Brown and Cam Johnson, the need for Jared Vanderbilt isn't as significant now. Now you kind of get away with okay, let's just go get that center. So just things to keep in mind. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.